Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our Tuesday night session of Divine Femininity United. I am your girl, Dr. Bianca, Miss B. Lee. And once again, we are here to read this phenomenal book, Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior, written by the phenomenal David R. Hawkins, PhD, MD, all of the letters. Okay. He earned it all. He absolutely did. This man is phenomenal. His knowledge is amazing. It's so expansive. It's transformative. I'm telling you, this book that we're reading is proof of that, you all. Okay. As you know, on Tuesday nights, we do not mess around because it is late. I'm on the East Coast. It is after 8 o'clock. Well, it's 8 o'clock, right? 8:01 right now. And then, at this time, we're usually winding down. We're usually coming off of work and, all of the things. And I don't like to keep you longer than I have to. Okay. So we're going to get on through. We are reading chapter 22, Spiritual Struggle. Chapter 22, spiritual struggle. At any point, if you see or hear or something resonates with you throughout this reading of this chapter, please utilize the chat, utilize the comments from wherever you are watching. We are airing live on Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the places, okay, simultaneously. So I thank you in advance for your presence here. Even if you're listening on a replay, thank you in advance for your presence here, okay? But utilize the comments, utilize the chats, share, and share alike, okay? Here we go. Chapter 22, Spiritual Struggle. We can reinterpret the struggle of man's spiritual enterprise from the understanding of consciousness at which we've arrived. Pure consciousness itself, which is described as isness, beingness, or I amness, represents the infinite potential, power, and energy source of all of existence, identified as deity, God, or divinity. Within this potential, the unmanifest becomes manifest, like the avatar, such as Christ or Buddha, whose energy field calibrates at 1,000, which is the maximum for any human expansion or reach level of consciousness that opens up enlightenment, complete enlightenment. These individuals set up attractor patterns of such enormous force that the mind, with its holographic capacity to create globally to attractor fields, is subject to them. Of lesser significance, but still enormously powerful, are the ordinary enlightened teachers who have taught the path to the realization of the higher self. The higher self has been described by the enlightened throughout time as infinite, formless, changeless, all present, unmanifest, and manifest simultaneously. Here's the oneness, the allness, and the godness of all that exists, indistinguishable from the creator, whose power in the human realm is a giant attractor field that allows and encompasses variations or free will, so that all paths lead to me. All paths lead to me. That's the mindset that I take when it comes down to religions, different understandings. All paths lead to me. All paths. Every path of enlightenment or spirituality or awareness, whatever you want to call it, consciousness, it's all a pathway for some or all or whichever the way. Because again, I came into the realm of spirituality by way of Christianity. That was my gateway. I am thoroughly appreciative of Christianity because it opened me up to receive. Okay. It opened me up. It put me in a space of surrender to where my ego self, my control self, did not I was able to subdue that one. I was able to put it aside. I was able to really open myself up to the voice that is the Holy Spirit, things like that. I was able to be more familiarized with elements, energy, spirit, praise, surrender, meditation, prayer, all of those things. And then once I don't want to say reached a level of capacity. I don't want to say that because there's never a level of capacity. There's always more to know. But once I reach my level or what I can achieve or acquire from that gateway, then I was able to transmute out of that into something more expansive, going into consciousness elevation versus religion versus just one singular faith. All paths lead to me. I always questioned and always knew that there was more than just what I was being taught. There was much more out there. I always had a curiosity about it. Matter of fact, my grandmother, my mom's mom, she was always into the astrology and the horoscopes and the stars and all of the things. And I never understood. I wanted so badly to ask questions and dive into it, but because of religious mindsets, I was programmed, I should say, or conditioned to believe that those things were demonic or witchcraft and all of those things. I then came to know, the older I got and the more, into my own studying to show my own self-approved, I was able to learn that that was not demonic. It was not witchcraft. It was more of a different form, a different understanding of what the oneness, the I amness, the allness is, because everything that the creator created was created with a purpose in mind. Just because you don't know the purpose of the thing doesn't mean that it has no purpose or that it is demonic. Okay, even down to, let's say, grass or things that we consider weeds. The creator doesn't make disposable things or things that they have no purpose. Just because you don't understand the purpose of it doesn't mean it needs to be classified and labeled as trash or weed or disposable. The very dandelions outside that may seem to be, trash or whatever, that we pluck up or spray out and all of those things, those very, very dandelions are very medicinal, good for your body, good for your health. They are packed with antibiotics, packed with them, from the roots to the stem to the flower. But we toss it out because we've been programmed to do so. We've been taught that that is what it is. So if someone somewhere decided that this is wrong and that's right, and then coined it as such, right? When it was subjective the whole time. We took it as gospel, right? And ran with it. No one questioned, you know, no one even questioned the mindset and the vantage point of the person that said that it was, you know what I'm saying? Where were they on the level of consciousness? You see what I'm saying? So, but we take it as face value, and then we program generations and generations after that to believe the same thing, right? That's why we have to study for ourselves, right? Continuing on, in our studies, teachings, and other works that deal with this subject typically calibrated at 700, which is the beginning stage of enlightenment on the scale of consciousness, okay? At the energy field of 600, ordinary thought ceases. Wow. At the energy field of 600, ordinary thought ceases. Beyond temporal linear process, existence is witnessed as knowingness, omnipresence, and non duality. All right. Because existence has no locality, the me you duality of sequence illusion of separation disappears. Right. So there's no me and you. There's no, him and her. There's no us and them. There's no white and black. There's no, you know what I mean? That duality disappears at the level of knowingness, which is at 600. Okay. This state is peace beyond all understanding, or infinite, unconditional love. There's just only oneness at that level. It's all encompassing, all knowing, all present, omnipowerful, and coincident with the higher self, which is the awareness that the manifest is one with the unmanifest. So it's all happening simultaneously, right? Truly spiritual states can be said to appear at a calibrated level of about 500, which is love, and continue on to infinity. Teachers who calibrate in the high 500s and 600s are frequently recognized as saints. Their state of consciousness is often described as sublime. It is a common experience for as yet unenlightened devotees to enter such a sublime state when in the presence of teachers whose energy fields calibrated 550 and over. This happens through the process of entrainment, which is the dominance of a powerful attractor field. Until the devotee arrives at the higher state of awareness, this state won't persist outside of the higher energy field of the teacher. See? See, that's what I was just talking about as far as when it goes down to when it came down to religion. You can only reach the level of who's teaching you until you transcend out of that from up under that teacher and go to someone who's at a higher level and be trained by them. That's the only way that you can go higher. If you sit yourself up under a teacher, that you can only reach what the teacher has. You can only obtain what the teacher has. But I can guarantee you that there's always more to obtain. Okay? We just got to know when to transition out, right? We just got to know when to do that. Okay? Advanced spiritual seekers often fluctuate in and out of the presence of the beloved as they approach enlightenment. This loss of the higher state and descent to a lower one is identified to both Eastern and Western literature as an anguish of the soul. We call it now the dark night of the soul. Mhm. Spiritual work, like other intensive pursuits such as sports, can be arduous and frequently requires the development of specific tools for the task, including an extremely focused intent and unfailing concentration. That's right, which also probably requires isolation too, because in order for you to be really devoted, right, and really intentional and really concentrating, yeah, you might have to be by yourself. Because if you put yourself around familiarity, that familiarity is sure to distract you. Okay. The difficulty of inner work results from the great effort required to escape from the familiar. What did I just say? The great effort required to escape from the familiar gravity of lower attractor fields and move to the influence of a higher field. In order to relieve this struggle, all religions issue restrictions against exposing oneself to the lower energy fields. It's only from an authoritarian viewpoint that such error is depicted as sin. Listen, a more liberal viewpoint accepts man's dalliance in lower energy fields as a pardonable falling. Okay. But attitudes, emotions, and behaviors characteristic of energy fields below 200 do, in fact, generally preclude spiritual experience. The classical chakra system, recognized by many spiritual disciplines, correlates almost exactly with the map of consciousness that has emerged from our studies. The level of 600 corresponds to the crown chakra, 500 to the heart, is true, 200 and up to the solar plexus, while the lower attitudes and emotions of spite, envy, resentment, and jealousy are associated with the spleen. The base chakra, as do with animal survival and the absorption with what prohibits spiritual progress. Thus, all spiritual teachings advise against worldliness, suggesting avoidance of attachment to sex or money. The lower regions are also the center of addictions. One can be fixated at any of the lower levels. It's so true. Oh, it's so true. I work with so many clients where we have to unblock, we have to, or even activate some of those lower chakras, the root, the sacral, even some of the solar plexus, for sure, because we tend to get stuck right there. All right. It's so true. Almost all of the energy, these energy fields and the behaviors associated with them now have given rise to specific self help groups, all of which concur that without a spiritual context, recovery is quite unlikely. In consciousness raising programs, in general, a universal dictum is that one is powerless until one tells the truth. Listen to me. You cannot heal what you won't reveal, right? All spiritually oriented self help groups require this first step. They're unanimous in believing that an open mind and willingness to improve the necessary prerequisites to progress, in other words, One must have reached an energy field of 200 in one's development to the healable. I believe 200 is courage. I want to say it's courage. Lingering within the influence of fields below this entails a real danger of becoming so deeply entrained that one can't escape. This isn't always so, however. History has noted many occasions of individuals in the very depths of entrainment, those lower level consciousness, suddenly breaking through to a higher level of consciousness. It's true. There has to be a wanting to do that, though, a willingness. You know, you got to be tired of being tired. You got to be. You got to have that sense of exhaustion. Like, look, I'm over it. I want better. I desire it. I deserve it. You got to have that in order for it to happen. But it is absolutely doable. Such sudden breakthroughs are still seen on occasion in modern society. This, as we've seen, was the precise experience of Bill W., which resulted in the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous. This experience seemed typically to be characterized by a total transformation of consciousness and liberation from the entrainment of lower attractive fields and a sudden emergence into high awareness. This type of experience, common in early days of AA, when its members were frequently last gaspers, isn't reported by high button members who constitute the majority of newcomers to AA today. Just as the entrainment or influence of the higher energy fields has an anabolic or growth enhancing effect on a subject, entrainment by lower attractive fields has a catabolic or destructive effect. It's true. The most widespread example in today's culture is the influence of some forms of violent pop music. Among our test subjects, punk rock, death rock, and gangster rap music made every subject go weak. That's wild. And I'm not shocked either. Confirming earlier observations made by Dr. John Diamond. In a more recent study of students reporting in the Arizona Republic on July 4th, 1994, Dr. James Johnson of the University of the North Carolina found rap music to increase tolerance for and predisposition to violence while promoting materialism and reducing immediate interest in academics and long-term success. So true. Because the earlier hip hop with artists such as KRS-One, you know what I'm saying? You had a Public Enemy. You had this. See, they had actual missions in mind. They were talking about certain things. They were speaking about, fighting the power. They were speaking about gaining your liberation. They were speaking about freeing your mind, liberating your mind, educating yourself. But we see here in recent years, okay, now this book was written in the 90s, I believe. So it's declined since then. We're bopping to songs called Throat Baby right now. I'm gonna let you figure it out or go and get the lyrics to that on your own. But that's what we're dancing to now. Those are the things that we're allowing in our gates, our eye gates, ear gates. And then we're regurgitating it out of our mouths. Words, sound is frequency, energy. We're projecting into the world, right? And what we release into the atmosphere is what we become magnets to back into our lives. And we wonder why we can't find peace, love for real. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. Because what are you exposing yourself to? What are the seeds that you're dropping in your own life? Right? What are you receiving? What are you opening yourself up to? Becoming subject to? What is happening? And then it's reprogramming, our subconscious self. You know what I'm saying? And then innately we're living out what we're watering. The seeds that we're watering, we're living it out because it's definitely producing a harvest, you know? So, yeah. A common experience observed in therapy groups and clinics is that drug abusers don't recover if they continue to listen to heavy metal rock music. In fact, a 1-year follow-up of inpatient and outpatient cocaine addicts from Sedona Villa A branch of Camelback Hospital of Phoenix, Arizona indicated that not a single cocaine abuser who continued to listen to this violent and negative music recovered. See, self-help groups for the addicted invariably recommend avoiding the influence, that is, the energy fields of former lifestyle associations. Exactly. You got to cut off what you were doing when you were in those lower debilitating energies. You know what I'm saying? You cannot pour new wine in old skin, right? You can't hold on to the old you and the new you, right? What they say the definition of insanity, which is not the definition of insanity, by the way. Okay, it's just my goodness, I don't know why we come up with these sayings, but anyway, they say doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, is insanity, right? So we got to break some of these habits, break them, break them, break them, right? These habits, these addicts found that leaving the drug wasn't enough. To do so was merely to attack the A to B to C of addiction. As long as they couldn't make the commitment of will to entirely leave the influence of the field of which the music, like the drug, was simply a manifestation, they couldn't escape entrainment to the lower energy attractor. So the ABC, or the whole desire of recovery from the addiction. Recovered addicts who leave the energy field of their self-help programs rather predictably relapsed. Besides having relinquished the influence of the combined power of their fellow members, their assertion that one can go at it alone is a notorious symptom of an oncoming relapse. It's true, because it indicates an infiltration of arrogance and pride, which calibrates at 175, lower than 200, which is well below the power of the energy field required for healing. The same principle, of course, operates in the other direction. To seek enlightenment is to seek entrainment to the most powerful attractor patterns. The key again is will, a constantly repeated act of choice. Choice, choice, choice. We choose instant by instant, moment by moment. We choose. Here, the chaos theory principle of sensitive dependence on initial conditions provide a scientific explanation of the traditional way of spiritual progress. In all spiritual disciplines, the opening wedge predicated for advancing one's awareness is described as willingness. History shows that's a surrender. Yes, willingness. History shows what has been clinically shown as well. A persistent willingness is the trigger that activates a new attractor field and allows one to begin to leave the old. That's it right there. We may visualize a lesser attractor field approaching a greater one, at which point the introduction of the third element, free will, the decisive consequence of choice and evolution, suddenly creates a crossover, a saddle pattern, and change takes place. In Eastern spiritual disciplines, it's accepted that the devotee alone, unaided by a guru, is unlikely to make such progress. The AA experience is that a true alcoholic is unable to recover without the help of a sponsor. We need each other, whether we like to believe it or not. Okay? We are stronger together. We are holding each other hand, walking each other back home to our higher selves, our whole selves, complete selves. You cannot do this by yourself. No man is meant to live life alone. In sports, great coaches are sought after because their influence inspires maximum effort. A devotee can abet its own progress by merely focusing on an advanced teacher and thereby aligning with that teacher's energy field. In our testing, it is repeatedly shown that holding the image of an advanced spiritual teacher in mind made every subject go strong, regardless of his personal beliefs. That's it. I even tell some of my clients or some people who are inquiring about, clients and therapists and mentors and things like that. I tell them, listen, my only thing, and I'm never going to say, come to me, come to me, come to me. You come to me if it resonates with you to come to me. All right. I'm not for everybody. I'm for somebody. Okay. Period. But I do say that when you are inquiring about a mentor, a teacher, a spiritual doula, a psychologist, or whatever the case, be sure to ask them who their mentor is, who their teacher is, who their, you know what I'm saying? Because it is foolish, and I say the word very sternly, it is foolish to connect yourself with someone who is not connected to someone else. It is foolish. All right? Because you need to know that the person that you're learning from is also still learning. Period, point blank. You need to know that the person that you are learning from is also still learning. I hold doctorates, certifications, all types of stuff. My whole wall is jam packed with frames, okay? All of that means absolutely nothing if I stopped at that level of learning. Period. Okay? There's always more to know. There's always evolution. We're always evolving higher and higher and higher and higher, always, right? So if you're going to connect your life and put your life and your jewels and your gems and your things in the hands of someone, you better know, number one, that they are qualified to handle it. And number two, they are still evolving and expanding themselves. Okay. We are accountable to and for one another. Okay. Align yourself with people who are also accountable to and for somebody else too. Okay. All right, here we go. The AA experience is that a true alcoholic is unable to recover without the help of a sponsor. Okay, we talked about that, right? Okay, good. We talked about having somebody with you, having a teacher, having a support system, and things like that. Okay, next, the agency of change in spiritual struggles of personal metamorphosis is always beyond the power of the seeker. Great saints, such as Francis of Assisi, have typically asserted that they were mere channels of a higher power. They've taken no credit for personal initiative in achieving their state, which they attributed to grace. This is illustrative of the instrumentation where the newcomer from a lesser level of awareness who places himself in an influence of higher awareness is transformed by osmosis or entrainment. Okay? Being around someone, you all, it matters. You're going to be like who you hang out with. Period, point blank. Okay? It matters who you circle yourself around. Osmosis. You can walk along the bank for so long before you fall in the water. Right? That's why that term, show me your friends, I will show you your future. I don't care how strong you think you are. Trust and believe. If you the only one in your group with sensible thinking and the rest of the group is going crazy haywire and they doing all kind of foolishness, I can bet your bottom dollar one day soon you're going to be falling right behind them. Okay? Mind your surroundings. All right? Even casual observers frequently note this conspicuous absence of agency on the part of the person who clearly transmuted by an invisible force. Therefore, when someone suddenly goes from the influence of a lower attractor field to that of a higher one, it's often acclaimed as a miracle. The unfortunate verdict of human experience is that few escape the energy fields that gradually come to dominate their behaviors. A currently popular spiritual program designed to facilitate such escape is A Course in Miracles. The purpose of this course of spiritual psychology is to prepare the necessary groundwork to precipitate a sudden jump in consciousness through encouraging a total change of perception. In a more traditional fashion, prayer and meditation also provide points of departure to rise from the influence of a lower energy field into a higher one. That was, again, A Course in Miracles. Physicians who have risen to energy fields of 500, which is love, okay, on the scale, on this consciousness scale, and above, have become powerful healers. It's true. Accomplishing striking success with treatments that others are unable to achieve similar results from, and thereby producing paradoxical data in many double-blind studies. Such inexplicable variances show the intervention of power unaccountable by the routine. causal explanation that predominates in medicine. In a holographic world, any single event is the result of all events in the universe. Events, as such, have no self existent reality. The universe is man's consciousness. Listen, the universe is man's consciousness. It requires a comprehension beyond intellect. It's true. The universe is man's consciousness. It requires a comprehension beyond intellect. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Mr. Donald on Facebook says birds of a feather flock together. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Here's the thing though: are you flying with eagles or are you pecking with chickens? Okay, because chickens are a bird too, but they're not flying anywhere. They are staying ground level, going absolutely nowhere. Okay. All right. The achievements of pure reason are the great landmarks of cultural history. They've made man the master of his external environment and to no degree on the physical plane of his internal environment. But reason has its limits in more ways than one. The intellectual brilliance of the 400 level, so dazzling and inviolable to those in the 300s, is true, quickly pales for those who have transcended it. From a higher perspective, it's all too clear how tedious and trivial reason's infatuation with itself can become. It's true. Reason is the mirror of the mind's vanity. Ultimately, there are few things more boring to observe than self admiration. My goodness, it's so true. It's so true. It is so true. Self admiration. Wow. Rationality, the great liberator that's freed us from the demands of our low natures, is also a stern warning, denying our escape to the planes above and beyond intellect. For those entrained at the level of the 400s, reason itself becomes a cap. It's true. That becomes your height, your ceiling, a ceiling in spiritual evolution. So you can't go any farther. That's true. John Maxwell, he's a teacher in leadership. He wrote a book called The Law of the Lid. He talked about that, the cap. Okay, you can't go any higher than the leader that you have. It's striking how many of history's great names calibrated at 499. Descartes, Newton, Einstein, and dozens more. It's a sticking point, an enormous barrier. The fight to overcome it is the most common and frequently the lengthiest of spiritual struggles. So right at 499, 500 is love. And he's saying that they calibrated at that point and didn't go any higher. It isn't unheard of for very advanced scientists who are thoroughly entrained by the influence of the level of reason, right? Because they're too busy trying to make it make sense to their analytical and logical mind, right? Trying to make it be a reasonable thing, right? To have sudden breakthroughs and emerge into a realm of global wholeness. Okay, so there are, it's not unheard of, he says, that they can transcend that reason level and go higher. The world of spirituality is coincident with the world of non deterministic science and nonlinear systems, as we've attempted to show. Our research and this presentation, in fact, are designed to facilitate rational recognition of spiritual phenomena by those who are predominantly linear and accustomed to the left brain mode. Okay, though that analytical self, Capricorns, Virgos, Aquarians, 100%. Capricorns, Virgos, and Aquariuses, for sure. Tauruses, honorary mention, for sure. They gotta see it before they believe it. Do you hear me? Okay, it gotta make sense to their left brain for sure. It has to make sense. And so what he's saying is that there are some presentations and research that can prove spiritual phenomena to those who are quite skeptical and got to have something provable. That's so funny, especially now more than ever. Perhaps the construct of our map of the anatomy, forgive me, a map of the anatomy of consciousness can illuminate somewhat the nature of ultimate causality by illustrating that the power of the creation proceeds from the top down rather than from the bottom up. From the top down rather than from the bottom up. Now that is a topic in psychology as well. Top down or rather than bottom up. It's our hope, though, not to dogmatize, but to assist the reader in a process of self-revelation, as our desire is to address not merely that figment designated as the reader's rational self, but his entire consciousness. In our study, it's the total person that reacts to the test stimuli. Although the subject's mind may not be aware of what's going on, his total being certainly is. Or there would be no consistency to our findings. This reminds us of the observation of advanced spiritual teachers that the devotee has only to discover that which he already knows. That is so true and that is so good. These things, you all, that we're coming into awareness of, right? Because in this life, that was the end of the chapter 2, by the way. You all. Okay, so in this life, I was telling one of my younger sisters this morning, we are simply experiencing experience. That's all we're doing in this life. We are experiencing experience, right? And becoming aware of different things as we experience it. Okay. The more we experience and the more aware we become, the more we remember ourselves. Again, we return to ourselves, right? We recollect, we remember, okay? Restore, return, okay? And then we resurrect ourselves and become whole again. We not become, because we already have them, we just didn't remember. And as we're experiencing, we remember, we come back into the awareness of who we already have always been. That's what this is. That's what raising your consciousness does. That's why it is imperative for us to do so that you can get to you once and for all in this iteration, not having to leave and transition and you got to die and the body got to die in order for your spirit to then no. That's going to happen. That's a guarantee. No one can evade that process, right? However, we have a possibility of doing so, remembering right now in this life, as this life, okay? And then demonstrating in this iteration from our whole self, our true self, who we have become since birth, since taking on this body, is not us, so to speak. It's who we've become. It's who we were programmed to be, it's who mama and daddy and them told us we needed to be. It's who society said, it's who our friends, peer pressured us into being. It's who our job said we were. It's who, okay? That's what it is. That's what we've become. That's who we are, and that's who we're demonstrating, what we're demonstrating from today. Don't believe me? Sit down with self one day. Take a notebook and a pen and jot down some of the things about yourself, your personality. Where did you get your laugh from? Where did you get your style of dress from? Why do you wear your hair in that style, in that way, in that cut? Okay. What motivated you to drive the car that you're driving? What motivated where you live right now? Okay. What prompted you to get the job that you have? So when you answer those questions and answer them truthfully, as honest as you can, right? You'll come to know that a lot of the things that you are sitting in, standing in, operating in, walking in right now is a result of somebody else's influence. Yeah. Our habits is a result of somebody else's programming, for sure. Okay, for sure. And that's okay because we've all been there, done that. Some of us are still breaking some of those things away from us. This is not a condemnation situation here. We're not, this is not a guilt thing. No, because this is a part of the journey. But what it is an awareness. Once you sit down with self and once you discover that about yourself, then you'll say, you know what? That is so true. That is so true. I've taken on dressing in suits, business suits and things like that because I was told that this is what I'm supposed to do in order to be a successful business person. I don't like to dress like this. I feel stuffy when I dress like this. Not to say anything against anybody who wears a suit. I'm just saying if that's your thing, that's your thing. But what if you like to wear, retro clothes? What if you like to wear colors and pops of color? What if you like to express? What if you are a right brain person and you're creative and artistic and fashion forward and things like that? You have your own way. I absolutely love watching and seeing people, watching videos of people just be their true authentic self. Even if the rest of society may deem it weird, they themselves give themselves permission to simply be however, whatever that needs to be. I say that as a right brain person as well. I'm a huge creative. I've always been, okay? Always been in any field that I'm in, it has to have some form of creativity in it. I still am a licensed cosmetologist, master cosmetologist, and master cosmetology instructor. Owned salons, taught the whole 9 yards. Okay. In fact, it was COVID that made me shut them down, but that was a good thing. It was a pivot for me, right? But while I was in the field, 25 plus years, while I was in the field, my hair was every color you can think of. I would combine colors to create new colors. Why? Because I can. That's why. Because I can. And I'm going to tell you something. I would say I service over 800 clients, me personally, over 800 clients a year. I took no walk ins. I had appointment only, over 800 clients a year. And I would say about 30 to 40% of my clientele were elder women, senior citizens. And each one of them would come and sit in my chair and they would compliment the colors I wore. And they'll say, oh my goodness, I could never wear that hairstyle, but it is so cute on you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the fact that, and I have tattoos, you all. I have tattoos from the rooter to the tutor. I can't even tell you how many I have. Why? Because I love them. That's why they all mean, each one means something to me. I don't just put anything in my on my temple. I call it me hanging pictures in my home. Okay. I have piercings everywhere. Okay, man, your business. But I love them. I'm an expressionist, and I give myself permission to be. And I'm still a lover. I'm still full of love, full of light, full of peace, full of joy, even with all of my colors and all of my things. I like to dress out of the box. I like things that are different. I love it. I love it because there's no limitation to me and my creativity. I am a creator. That's what I am. And I embody it wholly. Wholly. If you've seen any live actual videos of mine where I'm actually on the camera, you'll see my wall behind me is covered from ceiling to floor with different color fedoras. Why? Because I wanted them. That's why. Plus, it's fashion. So if I need a party cap to go with any outfit, then boom, there you have it. I have it. I love to see people step into their authenticity. Absolutely love it. As wild and crazy as it could be to others, I love that they don't care. That's when you know that there's someone who's not here for the opinions of others. No, they're here to love on themselves and allow themselves to experience this iteration at the maximum, right? And that's what we're here to do, to experience the experience. fully, wholly, be connected to it, not attached. Be connected to it. Be embody the moments, right? Fully embody the moments. Be aware of every single thing that each moment, each event, each opportunity is teaching us. What is this event? What is this moment in my life bringing me? What is it teaching me? What is it causing me to remember? Right? And when we see it from that perspective, then we can forego offense, we can forego anger, disappointment, expectations unfulfilled. We can let all of that stuff go because we're not attached to these events and moments. We simply are experiencing them so that they can teach us whatever they need to teach us, and then we're going on to the next. That is growth. That is expansion. That is understanding and understanding who you are and living fully as such. Ugh, when I learned this for myself, my God, today, when I learned it for myself, oh my goodness, no one can take me away from that. I am no longer tethered to the opinions of others. Not at all. Not at all. All right. If I were, trust me, I go live twice a week on several platforms. I might have one or two people, whatever the case. It doesn't matter because I'm not doing it for popularity. I told you I'm not for everybody. I'm for somebody. Right? So for whoever the somebodies are that are listening to me both in real time and on the replay, that's who I'm for. You are who I'm for. And I love that they're archived. So even when I leave here after taking my last earthly breath, guess what will remain? Me, my voice. And guess what else? Whenever the person listens, whomever they may be, whenever they grab a hold of this message or any message that I've ever done, right? Both now and in the future, in the forever, then they will be able to gather the things of me. They will have experienced me. I will have experienced them, right? Because I'm not going anywhere. I just left this physical being, right? It'll still be prevalent, and they will have received it in their perfect time. That's the beauty, man. That's experiencing the experience. That's what this is. All right. You all, if you don't have this book, you need to get this book. This book is free of charge to you, okay? If you want to give a seed and gratuity and things like that, or drop a donation, I am a nonprofit organization. So if you want to sow a seed, you are more than welcome to do so. It is welcome, but not required, okay? If you want the book, let me know. Reach out to me and let me know in any way that you can. But I would love for you to do it via email if you have no other way of doing so. You can email me at info@biancamissblee.com, okay? You can visit my website if you want to email me, as well as take advantage of any service that I offer. I am all of the things. Okay, I am a therapist. I am a coach, a mentor, spiritual mother to many worldwide. Okay, a reader, a healer. All of those things I do all of those things, and they are all available, as well as merchandise, journals, and things like that on my site. They can also be found on Amazon, as well as my book can be found on Amazon and Audible, as well as a lot of my merchandise can be found on Walmart.com as well. Okay, so wherever you go, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm wherever you are. How about that? All right. So take advantage of that. Go to visit the website on Clubhouse. It's right above my head. Everywhere else is on the screen and in the captions. Clubhouse is also in my bio. Okay. Alrighty, visit me, you all. Follow me on social media. Follow, like, subscribe, all of the beautiful things on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube is Dr. Bianca Miss B Lee. All right, you all. We are back here on Sunday for chapter 23, and that is entitled "The Search for Truth." Chapter 23, The Search for Truth. All right. This book has been amazing. You all, on a scale, we talked about this before, but on a scale of 0 being death, this is the scale of consciousness, right? 0 being death, 1,000 being the highest level of enlightenment, all right? This book calibrates at 800. This book alone. 500 is love, right? 600 is, I believe 600 is willingness. 700 to 1,000 is enlightenment. Gandhi, Mother Teresa reached 700. Christ, Buddha, Krishna, they reached 1,000. This book calibrates at 800. So even just by simply reading the book, right? Reading the book, you automatically, you're reading and applying the book, you automatically elevate. You automatically evolve. You automatically expand. Get the book, okay? Get the book. I promise you, I will send it right over to you immediately. Get the book, all right? We're back here on Sunday, you all, for chapter 23. Again, that chapter is entitled The Search for Truth, all right? We are here at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Divine Femininity United. You already know I love you. I mean it. There's absolutely, positively nothing that you can do about it. Don't you even try it, okay? Because it will not work at all. I am love, and my love for you is infinite. All right. We will see you back here on Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Divine Femininity United. Peace.